Welcome to Learning Excel. My name is Raphael. In this video now, we're going to be talking about macros. Now, macros allow the user to recreate tedious and laborious repetitive tasks, such as formatting a worksheet. So imagine you get this data on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and it's really not formatted. Here you can see the price, but basically I want to format the price, so I would highlight the price and give it a dollar sign. And then maybe I want to have some formatting for the header, so I can give it some color, add some borders. And you can see that I've got Bob in lowercase, so I want to maybe change that to uppercase and go back and change that to B, change the last name from lowercase s to capital S. And then what I have to do is copy this maybe here to all the Toms, and I have to do the same thing here. And then I would repeat it for Tom and Bob and so on. And maybe I want a full name also, a concurrent name for first name and last name. So as you can see, doing this every time you get raw data could be a laborious and tedious task. So wouldn't it be easier if we had automatically do this every time we get raw data? And that's where a macro comes in. So let me uncheck that. Let me get rid of the colors, get back to status quo, and there we are. So basically what I want to do is every time I receive raw data like this, what I'd like to do it is format it immediately, instantly, like this. This is far more better. It's even got an outliner. And I don't know, let's see if we can make that as part of a macro. So let's see how you create that macro. Now the first thing you'll notice here, in order to create a macro, you should have a sign here, as you can see. And up here, there you should have what's called the developer tab. Here, I don't see the developer tab. So if you don't see it, go to File, Options, click on the Customize ribbon, and give it a second, it'll pop up. And there you go. And as you can see now, here, the developer tab is not checked. So check it and go OK. And just give it a second, and it should pop up anytime, and there it is. So if I click on that, now you can see we've got macros here where we can view it. And of course, we've got a icon here for the macro. So in order to start a macro, what we do is just click on this, and it's going to ask you for a macro name. So let's just give it macro name. So say format, let's call it raw data. Now the other thing is you cannot have spaces. So if I go like this, and there's a space between format and raw, if I click, you'll see that it gives you an error. So you can either do an underline or no space. So let's do no space. Format raw data. So that's important to understand, otherwise you're going to get an error. Now obviously here it gives you a short key. So what we can do is Control Shift capital S. Then it gives you the option of storing the macro in this workbook, or a new workbook, or the entire workbooks, whatever one you open. And I'm going to do that one and go OK. So now we've got a macro. And the important thing is, before I say OK and start recording, it's important it's recording every single move. So try to plan what you need to do. Don't go over here and there. There's something that's superfluous, that's not relevant to what you're trying to do, because it will record that. So that's the important thing to understand. So as soon as I go OK, right, you can see it started to record here. So now it's recording. Now, even though I'm moving my mouse, it's recording. It's actually going to record the steps. So what do I want to do? Well, let me change this first and go home. And this is fine. Go into a home tab. This kind of recording is fine. It'll kind of ignore that, if you will. And I'm going to go over here and double check it. I'm going to go to the prices. Give it a dollar sign. And the other thing I want to do now is maybe make the uppercase for Bob. So what I want to do is insert a row. And I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it. There we go. And what I'm going to do with this now is make this a formula, actually, so this Bob and Sue and Tom and Harry and all this is actually uppercase. And to use that, actually, let me get rid of that. Let me just insert a relative row. Let's get rid of that. And I want to make this uppercase. So remember the function upper. Equal, proper, proper, tab, text, enter, and there you go. And now if I just double click it with the handle, I've suddenly got uppercases. Certainly I want to do that with the last name, so maybe I want to do that last name also. Insert, equal, proper, tab, enter, enter, and there we go. And what I want to do, of course, is make this now, because I'm going to get rid of the first name and last name, I want to make sure that this is copy pasted so we lose the formula, if you will. So copy, paste special, just keep the values. Same thing here. Copy. And you can see how laborious this is anyway if I have to do this with every Excel sheet that I get. So now I can just copy this and just paste it here. And I can copy this. And you can see this is quite laborious even to do. So now that I've got the first name, last name, I can get rid of this actually. Delete it. I can get rid of the last name. Delete it. And let's say that's enough of what we want to do. So when we're done, all we have to do is just press the macro here. It's currently running to stop it. As soon as I go stop, it stops it. And that's great. So now it's saved. So how do we retrieve that? So remember I did all this. Now here comes raw data here. And as you can see, it's not formatted as that is. So how do I apply it? So I go to the raw data that I want and go over to developer, go to macros, and here you'll see all the macros that I've saved. In this particular case, it was called format, and as you can see here it is. So all I go is go run, and boom, there it goes. Did you see it? It's fairly fast. That's why I've got couple of these things just to do it over and over again. So let's say a new data comes in, select the field, go to macro, and here's the macro. Just go run, and everything automatically is updated. One more time. Macro, run. And there we go. And that's an incredible way of saving a tremendous amount of time. Now here I've even taken it one step further where I've actually created an outliner. So I'll let you actually do that. And you can see also I've concatenated here using concatenated ampersand to use the full name. So if you want the full name, I would highly recommend you do that. And this will be a good exercise for you of using concatenation using the ampersand. And then you can do this. So this is how you can utilize what's called a macro. Now macros, I can create a course on itself because it's not a complex subject, but a rich subject that you can do a tremendous amount. And maybe in the future I'll have a course on just macros. But for right now, if you're doing anything that's laborious and tedious and constantly formatting just raw data, then this is the best way to do it, as you can see. So I think I'm going to leave you here, and that should give you a quick example of what a macro is. So if you just come across your desk of what a macro is, at least you know how to do it. Here, at least, as I said, I want to keep it relatively simple because it's a beginner class, but you can do amazing things with macros. So I'm going to leave it here. We'll continue with the next video. So my name is Raphael, and this is Learning Excel. See you in the next video.